Hey, Stevie Nunny here doing a junkyard crawl at Burniston Auto Wreck with my buddy Rudolph Dieselhead. And you know, Rudolph Dieselhead, well, somebody came to visit him when we were gone and gave him a new set of eyes. So he doesn't need his glasses anymore. I'll take them. But that's kind of cool. Somebody found Rudolph Dieselhead, which is our mascot, and gave him a little update. Good boy. Okay, so let's get started with the Hubcap game, part 9 in the wonderful Chevy van. Okay, and right here, Chevy Malibu. Right here. I think we saw one of these previously, but again, these would have been seen like on a 7307 Malibu, you know, nothing too crazy. Never seen on Super Sports. These were not available, just too humdrum. But again, a one-piece stamping with a stick-on fascia or plate, whatever you will, made of steel, but some kind of an adhesive holding this on. Kind of cool, kind of boring. And, okay, here is a 65 Dodge wheel cover, and there's the Fratzog, that thing right there, which has just made a return. And apparently the new Dodge Charger, literally the electric Charger, Dodge is bringing back the Fratzog, which appeared in 63, I believe it was, and they had to give it a, what do we call this thing? We're trademarking this thing, this triple diamond thing. Call it the Fratzog. So that's what this is, the Fratzog. It was just a term, but again, 65 Coronet, not a Hemi Coronet, not an A990, nothing like that. This would have been seen like on just a regular 4-door or 2-door, whatever, just your basic available optional wheel cover on a 65 Coronet. Let's see. Yes, another one of these beautiful full-size Oldsmobile wheel covers. This thing is heavy. This is die-cast metal around here. This is a multi-piece construction, probably about 1971, Olds 98. Big full-size car. Again, multiple screws and fasteners, 2 levels of them, and the center goes in with an index pin and a nut. And again, a couple years later, GM probably would have tried to make this out of flexible urethane. In 72.3, the Monte Carlo and various other Chevys got flexible. Even Pontiac had honeycomb wheels with rubber, but this is die-cast metal. This thing weighs about 6 pounds. It's not light. That comes off, it's going to take your head with it. Kind of cool. All right. Okay, Pontiac. There we have, oh, sorry, no, Mercury. There we go. Mercury right there. This would be probably about a 54 Mercury. And in the 1950s, of course, we got to remember, the 1939 through 1959, Mercuries all had V8s. No such thing as a 6-cylinder Mercury until you get in 1960, the Mercury Comet. So all V8s. But again, this is a basic Mercury, probably a medalist or something like that. One piece. Again, this is probably on the front. We see some grease. Again, the dust cap quite often weeps a little bit. The grease pollutes it, whereas the rear wheel is just basically a dead hub with no grease on the inside or outside, so it stays dry and clean. Let's see here. Okay, this I believe is an Edsel hubcap. I may be wrong, but that little tri-shield thing right there, 58 Edsel, these little signs are seen on Edsels all over the place, the ashtray, etc., etc. And the color coding on this might be Edsel. It's hard to say. But anyway, it's a one-piece item. It's certainly from the mid to late 50s. It might be base Edsel. I think it's an Edsel. I may be wrong, but that structure right there, that's about they call this the Oldsmobile sucking a lemon. It's also to be interpreted as certain other things, but with that said, the Edsel was a major marketplace flop. But this might be Edsel. Hard to say. Now this one speaks for itself. Plymouth, there it is right there. This is again a 63 or 4 Plymouth Fury or Sport Fury, the full wheel cover. And again, plastic insert with a metal sort of a clip holding it on. And it's cool. If you see that right there, what is that thing? It's a Delta. Nope, that's the Mayflower, the Plymouth, the original Pilgrims in their sailing ship seen from the front. That is one of the interpretations. And in fact, Plymouth had fun with various shapes like that, that again, if you look at them from the front, especially the earlier ones, it looks like a sailing ship coming at you, the Plymouth Rock, the Mayflower, the original Pilgrims. I think that's what that is. But again, 63 or 4 right there. Belvedere. Okay, this is small. It's a 13. It's a one-piecer. Surprisingly, it is stainless. This is probably 72 Toyota Corolla. That's my bet. And again, this is from the years way before. Today, Toyotas have aluminum wheels. Aluminum wheels are on everything. But back then, this is what passed for a classy-looking wheel. Kind of looks like a mag wheel with these little blacked-out fake spots to kind of give the illusion that it's a multi-spoke wheel. But now it's a tin cover. But again, well, it's a stainless cover. But this is probably Toyota Corolla, 72-ish, 3-ish, something like that. Yes, Buick Wildcat right there. Now, we did have a comment from a viewer a couple hubcap games back saying that the central hubcap was shared, but the center was changed out. It's true, the Wildcat did have a specific wheel center, and this is indeed it. It's a Wildcat, clearly, with its teeth all wild eyes and stuff like that. This is Buick, probably 67. And again, these are full-size Buicks right here. The plastic crown, it's lucite plastic. It's sprayed gray in the back to give it sort of a three-dimensional effect. It's tabbed in there. And again, the 3D effect is kind of cool. We see, this is smooth here, but it looks like fins, like a turbine exhaust. But again, that's part of the optical illusion that was very artfully done by the Buick stylist on the Wildcat hubcap wheel cover. Okay, all right, this is a Ford Falcon, probably 1966-7, the sort of the second generation when the Falcon kind of got bigger. Some Fairlanes might have worn these too. It's a one piece, it's pretty bland, pretty boring, and it's that Ford, I'm not sure what that even is, but this is sort of a Ford motif that would be seen on hood ornaments and this thing right here. One piece, or this might be new old stock. That sticker right there conceivably was on a rotating wheel, but it's hard to imagine that would have just rotted away. So it might be a new old stock wheel cover. Oh, okay, right here, Desoto. It says it right there, Desoto, kind of banged up. And again, stainless steel. This is probably about a 1951 Desoto. I dare say just before the era of the Hemi, which arrived in 1952 in the Desoto world. So the Flathead 6, and this is pretty typical of the uninspired styling of the early 50s KT Keller Chrysler Corporation era and Desoto. They used to say that the styling won't knock your eyes out, but it won't knock the hot hat off the top of your head, because they had really tall greenhouses, because KT Keller, the head of Chrysler, liked to wear hats, and apparently he didn't want to sit in the car that knocked his hat off, so he had a mandate, make the roofs taller, and this car once propelled a car down the road with a really tall roof. Kind of cool. Okay, this is pretty neat. Speaks for itself once again. Pontiac motor division, full size, probably Catalina, perhaps Bonneville, but again, this is 1964, I'm going to say right here, and it's probably been on the back. It's not greasy at all. And again, the Pontiac rear axle in 64 was the final year for the Hotchkiss type. 65, Pontiac went to Salisbury type with the removable cover. Not that that really means anything about grease, because neither one of them really puked grease on that, but 64 Pontiac for sure right here. But again, we have the simulation of a mag with the blacked out area behind it. Come on, who are you fooling? But this was the standard of care in Detroit for years and years before the aluminum wheel. Now, I got to remember, Pontiac did have the 8-lug wheel in 59 through 69. That was certainly a possibility, but this ain't that. And before I continue, that 8-lug wheel was an aluminum drum with an outer wheel bolted to it with 8 lug nuts. So again, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, let's move on to Chrysler Imperial. This is probably a 62 or 3, and what an elaborate thing this is. The conical inboard look, and the center right here, there's the Imperial crest right there. Multi-piece, 3 studs here holding the center in, 1 piece. It's funny, the retainer ring is actually pinched in place and spot welded right there to keep it together. So these would grab into the steel wheel, would go on and hopefully not come off. But again, Chrysler Imperial 62. These were the ones with those crazy standalone headlights, those big chrome pods on the front. Kind of weird looking car, but in its place, a good looking wheel cover. Yes. Chevy, of course. And if you had like a 68 427 Biscayne or a 250 6-cylinder Biscayne, these are the wheel covers that you would have had on it, minus the fauna or the floor or whatever one that is. I'm not Latin. But anyway, it's pretty clean inside. Probably from the back, there's no grease in there. But again, this is a typical fleet wheel cover on cabs, cop cars, full-size Chevy 68, 69. Kind of cool. Buick. Here's the Tri-Shield, of course, Buick Motor Division. This would have been seen like on a 70 Buick Skylark, you know, not a Grand Sport, just a regular Skylark, kind of ho-hum stuff, but these were seen on hundreds of thousands of cars. Remember, if they made 100,000 cars, they made 400,000 wheel covers, because 4 per car, unless you're talking about a Dale or a Davis, which had 3 wheels from the factory. Anyway, with that said, it's a one-piece device with a plastic center. Again, quick install. triangular wire clip to hold it on, so this would go together in seconds. No need for screws or machines or anything like that, so smart building right there. And one final cover, let's go with, yeah, okay, Mercury. This is a 13-inch cover. So this would be a Mercury Comet, say 1962. I like the red, white, and blue. That's factory stuff right there, very patriotic. Kind of weird. I know the full-size Mercurys also used the red, white, and blue motif, I think in 62 and 3. And it was kind of gone. They didn't continue with it. So I'm not sure what that patriotic spurt was about. But again, we see the fake background and the fake spokes. It's just a one-piece stamping with a plastic middle. But again, 13 inches, yep, Mercury Comet, first gen. Of course, the Mercury Comet would grow to 14-inch wheels and, of course, 427s and 390s within a few years. But humble beginnings right here, the early Mercury Comet. Well, that's it for with the 9th installment of the Hubcap game. And my buddy Rudolph Dieselhead and I will now wander into the sunset, and we'll be back with more Hubcap game. In fact, tomorrow we'll be back with more Junkyard Crawl, so stick around and please do subscribe to the Steam Mags YouTube channel. Till then, we're going to get some pizza.